On today's episode, we're gonna build and price a 2026 Ford Transit. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Matt here for AVC and welcome back to the shop. Like we said in the intro today, we're gonna be revisiting our order guide for the Ford Transit. Now, if you're new to the channel, this might be one of the first videos you found. And here at AVC, we build Ford Transits, we build parts for you to build them at home, and we have a bunch of videos so you can learn about building the Ford Transit. Today, we're gonna be revisiting our Ford Transit ordering guide. Ford has added some options, they've taken some options away, and they've made some things that used to be standard options. So it's gonna be really important to go through step by step, build the exact van that we want for our dream camper, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. So go ahead, stay tuned. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe this video, and let's dig in and build our dream Transit. So we are here at Ford.com, and if you don't yet, I would definitely recommend building yourself a profile. That way, if you save this order form or something like that, you can take this to your dealership, you can look at the order together. You can build a couple of different models, compare different options, things like that. Look at them with your family, decide what's gonna be the best thing for you. Okay, so after you've done your profile, you've logged in, we're ready to actually dig in and look at the vehicles. So click in this vehicle tab. We're not gonna go to truck and van, we're actually gonna go down here to commercial vehicles. I don't recommend building on the passenger van platform because you're gonna have that airbag all the way down both sides of the van, and we don't want those airbags because we can't do a lot with a camper because of that. If you want a passenger van, it's a different conversation. Today we're looking at just the standard cargo, okay? So we're gonna see two different options for the Transit. We have the regular Transit here, and then we have the E-Transit. The E-Transit is our electric model Transit. That's not gonna make a very good camper van either. They don't have the range that we need for adventures and things like that. We're going to different destinations. Although it's a great local delivery vehicle, it is not what we're looking for today. You'll also see a lot of cutaways, things like that. There's some cool stuff there. It's fun to take a look at those. Today we're looking at the Ford Transit. Okay, so we can look at the Ford Transit. There's a bunch of options and stuff like that. You can locate your local dealer. They might have an incentive. We can see some preliminary information here, looking at options between cargo van and passenger vans. We, again, are gonna visit this cargo van. So let's go ahead and just jump right into build and price. So we can click in and view our models. There's a 2026, and I think you can actually build a 2025 still. Some of the things that they've taken out of the 2025 models for the 2026 means that you might wanna try and build a 25 model if you can, or find one. We just came from the dealership today, and our local dealer told us that they've removed a couple of items from the 2026 offerings. And as you'll see here today, it may be what you want, may not be what you want. But nevertheless, we're gonna go into the 26 cargo van, build and price. So first things first, we are in the cargo van section. That's what we want. Okay, then we're gonna look at wheelbase packages. So you can have the 130-inch wheelbase. It's kind of the small guy. They call it a regular. And then you have the 140. The 140 they call the long body. And the 148 is the one that you're probably the most familiar with. That's what you see everywhere around. And it's most comparable to a 144 Sprinter. So if you're looking between Transit and Sprinter, the 148 and the 144 are gonna be the most comparable. Okay, I also like to go with a high roof. So we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna confirm a 148 change. All right, and then we have three different heights. So we have the low roof. Low roofs don't make the best campers. I understand some people have to park their van in the garage. If that's the case, low roof might be the thing for you. Know that if you get the low roof van, you're not gonna have as many build out options available to you. I know a lot of builders don't even offer builds on the low roof, us included, and we only offer builds for medium and high roof. Okay? So we can look at the medium roof and we can look at the high roof. The medium roof is nice if you're gonna daily driver it, if you're not gonna do really long trips, things like that, or maybe you're like one or two people in a van. The medium roof being just under 9 feet tall means you can get into a lot more drive-throughs for a cup of coffee, things like that. If you live in the city, it might be a little more practical for you. I think the high roof makes the best camper, and that's because we just have that much more room to work with. So we're 6'8" inside before build out. We're about 6'6" after build out. And that's a lot of room inside a van. So even if you're a tall guy, tall girl, that 6'6" is gonna give you plenty of headroom no matter what, and you're gonna be able to fit in that vehicle. Okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and confirm the high roof package. Then we can come down here to gross vehicle weight ratings. I like to go with the 9500 package, which is gonna be a 350. And that's because I like a little bit of wiggle room above my build out weight. So if we go to the 91.5, that's the 250. I think a 250 does make a good camper van, but you're not gonna have a ton of extra carrying capacity in that 250 area. And if you're gonna look into towing or something like that, that might really limit you. So I always recommend going with the 350. If you're worried about really stiff suspension and things like that, personally, I've never noticed a difference, but if you're already worried about really stiff suspension and stuff, you're probably gonna upgrade your suspension. So I wouldn't worry about it. I would just go ahead and stick with that 350, okay? So we have that 9500 package, which gives us a max payload of 4,000 pounds, or just over 4,000 pounds, which is more than what we need to put in a van. And then we can look at lengths. So we have the transit long 350, which is what we're looking at now, or we can do the extended length 350. Now the extended length 350 is gonna extend the butt of the van, and that is just gonna reduce your departure angle, which means, you know, as you're like coming through washes on dirt roads, if you have a steep driveway, something like that is something you're gonna have to consider, and you might scrape the back of the van. The nice thing about them not extending the wheelbase for these longer vans is they still drive pretty small and pretty normal. So it's gonna drive like a regular vehicle. The back end is gonna swing around a little bit, but not a ton, not enough that you really have to drive it with any thought. It is longer, so you're gonna have to think about where you're parking it, where you can park, you know, your local grocery store, something like that. You probably can't park in a regular space. So you might have to like back it in over the top of a planter box, park at the back of the driveway. You might have to take 2 spots. At about 23 feet long, this vehicle's a little bit bigger than a lot of stuff. So it's just one of the pieces to consider. We do have an extended van in the shop here, and we were gonna be building it out for a build series. I was gonna build it up for my family van, but I think I really like that long body package. That being a nice 20-foot van, it just fits everything. So we're gonna stick with the long body 350 non-extended. And keep coming down here. Okay, now we get to the engine and powertrain. So you can get the 3.5 liter V6 engine in this van, and the 3.5 liter is actually not that bad. They're very dependable. People like them a lot, but I really like the EcoBoost. I think that's one of the big reasons we go for a Ford Transit is that turbocharged engine. So it is going to automatically switch our gearing from the 410 to a 3.7, which is fine. You know, with that extra pep in the engine, we're gonna get that high speed. Okay, and we're gonna have a 10-speed transmission. That's all they offer these days, and gas model is what we want. And then we come down here to the drive mode. So rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. Honestly, you can go with either. The rear wheel drive is gonna give you better fuel economy, and you can get a lot of places in a rear wheel drive van. Frankly, you can probably get anywhere you need to go. If you put a decent set of wheels and tires on there, I think you're gonna even be fine in the snow. My first van, my 2019, was a non-EcoBoost rear wheel drive model, and I've done all sorts of big mountain passes in the snow. I've done everything I would ever think to do. I never got stuck, never had a problem. There was one dirt road in a muddy spring season. I had to turn around and back down. But like that's one time in 5 years that I had that van. So I don't think it's necessary, but a lot of people like the all-wheel drive. I always build an all-wheel drive these days for my family. It does give me that confidence when I'm out in the winter. I can just go wherever I need to go. I also just keep one set of wheels and tires on the van year round now. I don't put a set of like muds and studs on the van for the winter time. I just run an all-terrain tire on there, and it's been just fine all the time. The all-wheel drive from Ford is actually really impressive. You can get out on the beach, you can get in the sand, you can do all sorts of fun stuff. You might have to air down a little bit on your tire. I would recommend upgrading tires from the factory tire, at least maybe after you've driven them off. But if you're gonna get somewhere rugged, it's something you might wanna do. All right, our next selection here is going to be our battery. So they have the single AGM battery and they have the dual AGM battery. Frankly, we don't care what battery's in the van, but there's a reason we wanna select our dual battery. And the reason we wanna select the dual battery is because it does a couple of things for us. One, it gives us a little backup battery for the van, so it's always gonna start, which is nice. We're not gonna use these batteries for our build out in the van at all, and I don't recommend using them. This is not what they're meant for, but it will give us the auxiliary high-spec power interface, which is really important because that's gonna allow us to charge at a higher rate for our house battery system in the back. So it's gonna give us a 175 amp plug on the side, or a stud on the side of the seat base that we can pull lots and lots of power off that alternator for and send it back into our house battery system. The other thing is it gives us a little power outlet on the side of the passenger side seat base, which although we might not need, it's actually a pretty convenient thing to have. You can plug in a laptop up in the front of the van. Even if you're adding an S-bar furnace up there, you can remount the little power pack on the side of the seat base. We do that here in the shop all the time, and it's really nice and handy to have that power up at the front driver's seat. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and select our dual AGM battery. All right, rear axle ratio, we're actually limited to the 3.7 gearing for the all-wheel drive and the EcoBoost. So you can only get a 410 gearing if you go to the non-EcoBoost engine. So we're just gonna go ahead and stick with the 3.7 gearing. And then rear wheel or dual rear wheel. If you need a dually, you need a dually. I don't recommend them. It's a lot of extra cost. A lot of people end up putting like a super super single on their van, so they can get away from doing the 2 wheels in the back. Having to add 6 wheels onto an all-wheel drive vehicle just gets extra expensive, and you're realistically not going to need that unless you're towing really heavy stuff or hauling really heavy things, in which case you're probably not building a camper van. Heavy-duty front axle is going to be pre-selected as well. Then we come down here to dual alternator. Now, I personally do not like the dual alternator from Ford Transit because it's another 12-volt alternator, and I don't need it. I can pull comfortably 100 amps out of the factory alternator, which is more than we're going to charge our house battery system from anyway. Typically, I'm charging our house systems between 60 and 80 amps. We're using the EcoFlow power kit as of right now. And so we're limiting things to about 80 amps because we're running through their three wire gauge power wire. We're going about 15 feet back to the power system back there. And so we don't want to run too many amps through that, but the single alternator is more than enough to keep up with our power system. And if you're interested in doing dual alternator, I recommend going to an aftermarket alternator like a Nations or an Arco Zeus, because those you can get into a higher voltage and you can send a lot more efficient power back to your system. So going with something like a 24 or 48 volt alternator that you can send a lot more power back is going to be, I think, more worth it. So we're going to go ahead and not select dual alternator and move on to our packages. All right, our next section is going to be the build packages, and these are going to have some pretty important pieces inside. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the RV prep package first. Okay. So this is available for the cargo van, and it's going to give us a few things. Modified vehicle wiring system, which is fine. We realistically don't use any of this kind of stuff, but it's just what comes with the package. We're going to have dark palazzo gray cloth 4-way manual seats and a 4-way manual swivel passenger seat. So the main thing here is our swivel seats. They call these seats 4-way adjustable seats, but they have the exact same amount of adjustment as the electric seats. You can cant the bucket up and down or the base of the seat up and down. You can move the back up and down. You have lumbar adjustment. You can slide forward and backwards. And so it's all the exact same things they have in the 10-way adjustable seats. On the 10-way, they count forward and backwards 2 directions. They count the seat going up and down 2 directions. They count the vertical lift of the seat 2 directions. And so they say it's 10 ways, but it's the exact same amount as their 4-way, and I don't know why they call it that. But you have the exact same amount of adjustment with the cloth seat as you do with the leather seat or the electric seat. The main thing is these are manual adjustments, not electric adjustments. In a camper van, I actually prefer the manual adjustment versus the electric adjustment, but you cannot get a heated seat in the cloth, and that might be the difference for you. Okay. The big thing we like is the factory swivel. Now, I really like the factory swivels in these vans for 2 reasons. One, they're already installed, so we don't have to deal with it aftermarket, anything like that. The other is they don't make any noise. They're super nice. They don't rattle, they don't squeak, they don't do anything. Ford did a really good job with these, and they're very dialed. Every van that has had these swivel seats, we've been really happy with. Aftermarket ones, every once in a while I'll have people complain about the swivel or the fact that it squeaks after a couple of years, something like that. You can maintain it, you can grease them up so that they don't squeak on you, but if you can get them from the factory, I think it's worth it. Okay. The next thing here is the black HID headlamps. I really like HID headlamps on these vans. The halogen lamps are just not the same. And when these are blacked out on the inside, they just look cooler. So that's pretty cool. Wiper activated headlamps, that's cool. I know a lot of states are requiring that you turn on the headlamps when you turn on the wipers, so that just takes that consideration out. Front bumper body colored. I am personally not a fan of this. So the paint match bumper on the vans, I think looks kind of ugly. Everybody's different though. One of the guys here in the shop replaced his carbon gray bumper with a paint match bumper for his van. He thinks it looks cool. This is very much a personal taste. Personally, not a fan. Front fog lamps I think are really nice. I do like the fog lamps on the van, especially because you can replace them with an aftermarket thing from like Freedom or Van Parts Warehouse out in Florida. Those guys make a really cool replacement bracket. You can put in some nice off-road lights, plugs into the factory wiring harness, so you get a really nice high efficiency upgraded off-road light up in the van, nice and low for like really nice amber fogs, and I think that's a really cool upgrade. Carpeted fronts, not a big fan of the carpeted front, especially in a camper van. It's just going to hold a lot of dirt and things like that. Even if you put a Husky liner in there or like some WeatherTech floor mats in there, not a fan of the carpeted fronts. And then 7 speakers, so 4 up front, 2 in the rear. I think these even come in a box, so they're not going to be installed. You can kind of take or leave this one. The rear speakers, I don't think matter. They're going to be buried in the back of your camper van anyway, so whatever. They do give you an upgraded options here for the swivel seats, so we'll take a look and see if that's something that was going to come into play here in the future. But in my opinion, I don't really like the RV prep package. It does give us a lot of the things we want, but we can get these things selected somewhere else. Okay. So the next one is going to be our interior prep package. Interior prep package delete. We're going to go ahead and skip over that for now. Exterior upgrade package. So this is the package that I actually like a little bit more for the van. So we're going to get our black HID headlamps we talked about, wiper activated lamps, that's great. Front fog lamps, that's also great. Honeycomb mesh grille with chrome surround. I'm not a big fan of the chrome piece on this. It's going to be one of the only chrome pieces on the van. It's not like a take it or it's not like a deal breaker for me. I wish they offered it with an all black front grille. I know like Christian replaced his grille with the Ford Raptor grille from Europe. It's kind of a cool upgrade, but it's never been an issue for me, and I've never really cared that much. You could always take the grille off and paint the chrome black if you wanted to, if it really mattered to you. It does give us a 16-inch steel wheel with exposed lug nuts on the all-wheel drive, and I think those look pretty good. That's what I have on my van. I take those center caps off, so I like that. If you go ahead and get your wheels powder coated, I think you have a decent looking van or a decent looking wheel. We can also upgrade wheels here in a minute, so we'll take a look at that if that's something that interests you. Okay. So I did select this as my package here. Okay, so I like that upgraded exterior package. Modified vehicle wiring system. Okay. Requires a dual AGM. And it gives us some other provisions for extra wiring. This is not something we use in our build-outs here in the shop. I think maybe if you're building like an ambulance or something like that, that might be something you're using these for. We don't really like to tie a lot of systems into the vehicle itself. I like to separate the two. That way warranty is never a question, anything like that. And so I generally don't like to tie into the Ford vehicle anywhere but the CCP. That's the only spot I like to tie into it. Heavy duty load floor scuff plate, protection plate. I think this stuff is nice if you're just building a regular van. I don't think it's worth the money because, well, AVC builds a really nice floor and it's going to be more insulated for you. We have a better entryway step, all that kind of stuff. If you're not building your AVC floor, you should. But if you are, it's actually not a bad floor system that comes with the van. So if you do want to select that, it's okay. I think if you're building a cargo van for actual cargo and work kind of stuff, this is a really great option. But I think our floor is a much better solution for you in a camper. Floor and scuff plate, heavy duty trailer tow package. I like selecting the tow package from Ford because I get a 2-inch receiver hitch already mounted on the van. It's wired and everything all the way to the back. These are things you can do aftermarket. It's probably going to cost you more aftermarket than it is to just go ahead and get this from the dealer. And then it's done. It's integrated with the system. You got a trailer brake integrated, all that kind of stuff, which I think is super cool. When I go and rent a trailer from my local like equipment rental company, I plug in, it automatically tests the brakes, tests the lights, all that kind of stuff for me. And we're kind of good to go. It's really nice. It talks to you in the console and asks you how big the trailer is, how much it weighs, all that kind of stuff. You get everything set up, and it kind of builds it out for you. Oh, actually, right here, it does not include a trailer brake controller. We'd have to look at that trailer brake controller for us if we wanted to add trailer brake controller. Yeah, okay. So heavy duty trailer hitch. That is one I select. Yes. Fleet fuel economy package. This is going to be like anti-idle. It's not available with the EcoBoost engine anyway, so it doesn't matter. We're not like idling the van while we're dropping off things, so we don't really care about that. Auxiliary heater and prep package. This is one that I'm actually curious about. I just talked to my dealer about it today. And this is one that they used to offer, and this I'm actually kind of excited to see this here. So the only thing that concerns me is it might have the refrigerant lines running to the back of the van. So basically this is like adding the passenger van heater core underneath your passenger seat and the air conditioner at the back of the van without actually having those core units in the vehicle itself. So they have the AC prep package without controls. So that means you're not going to have the controls at the overhead center console there, but we are going to get a loop for the heater underneath the passenger seat, which is really nice. We're going to tie it into an aftermarket hot water heater in the van, which is what we like to do here. The one thing is the AC lines. So I'm going to go ahead and reach out to my dealer. I'm going to ask him a question about this one, and we're going to add that note in the comments or in the description below and give you clarity on this one, because this is one I want to find out about. Okay. For now, I'm going to go ahead and select it because I do like that. Okay. Fleet safety package, driver alert, reverse limiter. This is like a bunch of stuff for like delivery vehicles kind of stuff. Nothing you would ever want in a camper van. We're going to go ahead and skip that one. Okay, the last one is the Upfitter package. Now, I personally don't like the Upfitter package anymore. It used to be one that I liked, but I don't really use those center console switches. So this is going to add 4 switches at your dashboard down low that you can like turn on lights and things like that with, because it's a larger center console, but I found that it just holds more trash. I don't actually use it for anything. It forces us into the dual AGM battery, which we already selected. Gives us the modified vehicle wiring harness, which we don't care about either. So really, if you're choosing this, you're going to get 2 things. You're going to get the larger center console, and you're going to get the Upfitter switches in the front. So the Upfitter switches are great, except that they run from the vehicle power. So if you're going to use those switches to run like exterior lighting, a light bar on the van, maybe like a air compressor off your vehicle, something like that, and you want to run it while the van is running, then I think those are really great and you should choose this package. If you don't plan to do anything like that, or you're going to run exterior lighting off your house battery system like we do here with an aftermarket controller, then I don't think you need this package, and you'll be happier without that large center console. I used to like the big center console, but the cup holders are the same size. That's all I really care about. I can fit like a big water bottle in there. There's other little trays in there that like I can put my glasses in and stuff like that, but I found that they just end up holding junk, and it's another spot for trash to accumulate in my van. I'm gonna skip it. Okay, if we click into here, we got a few more things here. We can do ambulance prep package. This is gonna be a lot more of that extra wiring, dual alternator, a lot of electrical pieces and parts because they're gonna be pulling so much energy off the vehicle. We don't need this one. Ford Copilot 360. This is actually a pretty cool package. So it's going to give us Sirius XM on the dash. We don't really care about that, or you can take it or leave it. Front fog lamps, adaptive cruise control, which we really like. Lane centering, so it's going to automatically bring your van back into lane centering. Predictive speed assist. I'm not sure what that one is. That's a newer one. 360 camera, which we really like. I like the 360 camera. Makes parking these vans super easy. If you're in a city, if you're in a tight parking lot, something like that, you can see a lot of what's going on around the van. You can back into parking spaces a little bit easier, things like that. Side parking sensors, which is nice. Reverse brake assist, which is nice. If you're getting too close to something, it'll help you stop. Okay, I think reverse brake assist is not on extendeds or passengers, but it's going to give us blind spot monitoring, which is great. It's also going to give us short power heated folding mirrors, which is actually pretty nice. I like all those things. I don't like the long arm mirrors. They're just really big, and you end up like kind of like squeeze around them in parking lots, things like that. I think the regular side mirrors are going to be pretty good in the van. So actually, I'm going to add this one in. Let's see if it's going to pull anything out of our kit from us. Okay. So it's going to remove our power adjusting non-turn signal non-heated mirror. So it's removed our basic mirror, and it added a heated folding mirror. And go ahead and say yes. I like that. Okay, they have a Ford connectivity package, gives you a Wi-Fi hotspot in the van, navigation, audio and video streaming, voice assist, entertainment, that kind of thing. In a camper van, you probably don't need this one. I'd go and use your money towards a Starlink, something like that. Load area protection. This is just like going to be a polypropylene liner, cargo floor mat, all that kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff we strip out and throw in the dumpster here at the shop. I don't think you need this one. Okay, the wall kit doesn't fit like you would want a camper van wall kit. It's pretty loose. It's not a real tight wall kit, and so you can't really. People used to upholster these things. People don't really do that anymore. Contractor trade package. Let's see what this one has. Oh, okay, so bulkhead requires a bulkhead. Looks like it's just kind of some contractor stuff. Put in some shelving units, something like that. It actually looks like they're on Unistrut like we do, which is kind of cool. We don't want that. Okay. Wall liner kit, contractor, HVAC trade package. Same thing, different set of shelves in here. We don't need that either. And electrician's probably going to be similar. Oops, I don't want that. Whoa, $7,000 for an electrician's package. So you can get $7,000 worth of some metal shelves in there. That would go a long way towards building your camper van. So in that extra pieces and parts, we found the Copilot 360. I think that's a really good one. You want to add that one in, and everything else that we already selected. Okay. Now we're going to get into paint. So we have Oxford white. That's your standard white. They have a wild green, but it says fleet only. I'd be interested what that means exactly. Agate black, blue metallic. That's that dark blue. Ingot silver, race red, school bus yellow, carbonized gray. Out of all these, carbonized gray is probably the coolest one. I can't believe they took avalanche gray out. That was definitely my favorite colorway. But $300 to not have a white van. I think the carbonized gray looks pretty good, and it's going to make a very cool looking vehicle. All right, after we choose paint, we can get into wheels. So standard is going to be your 16-inch silver steel wheel. Okay, they do a steel wheel with a black hubcap. I don't care about those. Full silver wheel cover, which is going to be interesting on an all-wheel drive. I'm wondering, yeah, it's going to try and pull out all my all-wheel drive stuff, so we don't want that. Okay, we can get into the heavy duty. Okay, so let's look at the 16-inch matte black heavy duty wheels. Okay, so it's $1,000 for matte black wheels. I don't think that's worth it, in my opinion. $1,000 is going to go a long way to giving you an upgraded wheel aftermarket. Okay, or you can go to a black alloy wheel. So it looks like the black alloy wheel is probably the only other option we have. At $1,000, I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather get silver wheels and either paint them myself, because I can paint them something other than black. If I'm going to do that, I would choose a different color. I think I powder coated my factory wheels for less than $1,000, and so our local dealer or our local powder coat shop, I think they charge $200 a wheel to like blast and powder coat per wheel. So for your 4 wheels on your van, it's going to cost you $800. If you do your full-size spare, if you do a full-size spare, you can pop that out of there. It's going to give you 5 wheels that are all matched with a custom powder coat for $1,000, and they are going to give you a silver spare wheel with this. So if you put an aftermarket tire carrier on the back of your van, you take the spare from under the van and mount it on the back, you're going to have a silver wheel. So you're going to have to take that, get it matched, try to find one on eBay or something like that that matches from somebody else. I'd say skip it all, get the silver wheels from Ford, and do something yourself. You can also run those as winters if you want to run a dual, or you can go and get an upgraded wheel like something like a Method and have a cooler looking van in the end. Anyway, so we're going to stick with the 16-inch silver wheels and save that money for later. So if you're on a super heavy duty, they give you smaller tires. For now, we're going to stick with the factory 235/65 16s in a 121 weight rating, so I think we're good there. All right, after wheels and tires here, we have running boards. So we have a passenger running board and the extended length passenger running board. Both of these are actually pretty nice options from Ford. I have never been upset about the running boards on a van. So if you want an extra step to climb up into the vehicle, then I would say go ahead and go for it. These are a cool OEM solution. Personally, I don't like the running boards on the van. I think they look cleaner without them. The extended length is going to bring it all the way back to the passenger side, or back to the back of the sliding door, which I think is worth it. If you're going to go for it, I would go ahead and go for that one. All right, after our running boards here are going to be windows. So in the window area, we can choose no cargo area windows, no rear windows. We can choose privacy glass, fixed rear cargo door glass, high strength lamb glass, which is actually pretty cool, fixed rear cargo door glass, and windows all around. Now, I have built a few vans that had windows all around, which is actually pretty cool, but they're going to be colder in the winter. You're not going to have as much privacy, and you're going to have to spend more money on curtains. If you're building a dinette in the back of the van, having windows all around the vehicle is actually a pretty sweet thing. We always tell people to go with glass on the sliding door and glass on the rear of the van, and then we can add aftermarket glass on the driver's side front quarter panel. And that's usually like behind your kitchenette or at that second row seating, something like that. The reason we like to do that is none of the windows from Ford are going to be offered as a vented window. And so if you want to get some ventilation through there, you're going to have to replace one of those window sashes with an aftermarket window. Now, glass from Ford is going to be the cheapest glass you can get anywhere. So if you can get glass in the places you want, I would select it from Ford. Okay, but we have to be thoughtful on on what we're doing here. So we can choose no rear or cargo area glass, and that's like a passenger van modification, it looks like. Let's see what privacy glass looks like. So this includes fixed rear door cargo glass, fixed rear cargo door glass, and fixed second row passenger side glass, and windows all around. Fixed includes rear window defroster. Okay, so the high strength lamb glass is cool. If you are choosing all windows, it just gives you a higher strength laminated glass on those sides so that they can't break. You're not going to get ejections, anything like that through there. It's just a safer piece of glass. We've taken out a couple of these windows. The cargo vans had a lamb glass in them, and you could see it when you pulled the window off. It was, just like your front windshield, 2 pieces of glass laminated around like a plastic layer, basically. So it's just ultra high strength. It's never going to fail or break or pop or anything like that. Even if the window shatters, it's going to stay whole. So it's a lot more secure that way. And it's, a little bit safer that way too. So if you get a side impact, something like that, it's going to be very strong. I'm looking for the selection here for slider door and rear windows. So let's see what happens if I choose rear window glass here. It's going to remove no cargo area windows and remove rear view mirror delete. It's going to give me a rear view mirror. So if I added rear windows, it's going to add a rear view mirror, and it's going to give me a rear window fixed cargo door glass. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm that for now. Okay. We have privacy glass. I think that just tints it out so we don't get clear glass. All right, so fixed rear available for cargo vans. Fixed second row passenger side glass, so it's going to give us glass in the sliding door. It's going to give us rear window glass with defrosters, and it looks like it's included with ambulance prep. So this one, the 17B fixed rear cargo door glass, is going to give us back door windows and slider door glass. This is the one that we like to select for our vans. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that. That is the one I want. Okay, it's a little bit more, 275 bucks. That's going to be basically adding the glass to the sliding door. So it's $275 for them to cut and install a piece of OEM tinted glass on that door, which is way cheaper than even I can buy an aftermarket window, let alone cut it and install it. So let's go ahead and select that. We have selected privacy glass and rear windows. So I think we're set on all those. We're happy with the glass. We can move on. Next is going to be doors. Our rear doors have a couple different options. So they have the 253 degree rear door opening. That means those doors can open all the way around and pin themselves to the side of the van. That is what we like. The 180 degree opening is kind of an odd one. It just sticks them at 180 degrees, so they stick directly off perpendicular from the sides of the van. And we want to go with the 253 door. Close assist feature on the sliding doors. I don't like the auto close. This is like power sliding door, it looks like to me. Okay, so if you have little kids, this one could be nice because the kids can hit the button and shut that door automatically. Drawbacks wise, it's another mechanical thing that could fail. Let's see what the price edition is here if we choose power sliding door. 450 bucks. So I don't know. This one's a take it or leave it, personal preference. I'm not going to select it for my van. I do have a 5-year-old and we do park on an incline at home. This would allow her to be able to close the door without me having to get out and close the door for her because I have to like pull the door physically shut. She could pull the handle once and it'll automatically shut itself. So that can be nice. It is slow. And so if you're popping in and out of the van a lot like we do when we're camping, it's a little bit cumbersome. I'm not a big fan of it. It also is awkward to stop in the middle. You have to like pump the handle and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and not confirm this one. But if you want an auto close door, that's where you're gonna select it. In the doors, the close assist feature. Okay. Rear view mirror delete. So now we're gonna be moving on to the mirrors. Mirrors, we have a lot of different options. Extended side mirrors, I'm not a big fan of those. They're super big, awkward to get around in the parking lot. Rear view mirror delete. If you wanna get rid of the rear view mirror in your dashboard, you can do that here. If you have the rear glass, they're gonna automatically add the rear view mirror. So you might wanna delete it if you're gonna do something aftermarket. But they have some other cool things that they offer now. They have a digital rear view mirror. So this is just a live view monitor on the van. As you're driving around, you can see it. It's kind of a funny size. So we put in aftermarket rear view monitors, and the ones we put in are from Wolfbox, and they are a dash cam, rear view monitor, and we get the 2 camera option. So it has a front dash cam and a rear dash cam, which I actually like. These days, people on the highway, they see an expensive van, they think, oh, maybe I can stop short on this guy. You have a longer stopping distance, you know, that can happen. So adding the aftermarket, like aftermarket camera and things like that is kind of a cool thing to do. But digital rearview mirror, if you don't want to add the dash cam, something like that, digital rearview mirror is actually super nice. I'm very happy with the live view mirror on my van because I can see what's going on behind me. Even when I'm packed full of stuff, I can leave my window shades up. I can have a nice warm van, but I can see out the back of the van through that digital rearview mirror. It's a cool option, and I'm glad to see Ford is offering it. The other things here, we have the power adjusting mirrors. That was selected in another package, so that's already pre-selected here. And you can do power adjusting mirrors and things like that. I'm going to stick with the power adjusting heated and turn signal mirrors. Gives me more indicators on the side, more visibility, a heated mirror for wintertime. All those things are good. The next option here is going to be fuel tanks. So standard 25-gallon fuel tank or the extended range 31-gallon. I obviously like the extended range fuel tank. It is really nice. I have noticed that I have to stop more often than my van has to stop because I need a break. I want to stand up. I want to stretch my legs. I need to use the bathroom, something like that. So I don't necessarily need it, but when I'm going out in the backcountry somewhere, you know, that means I can drive 15 gallons into the backcountry. I can turn around and drive 16 gallons back out of the backcountry, which is a lot more distance than you can get out of the 25-gallon. Or you can drive, you know, out and have some fuel in your tank so that you can run your S-bar furnace, things like that. The extended range tank, super nice addition. I know some people are even looking for a larger tank than 31 gallons. Those like people that do those big road trips to Alaska, stuff like that. But they're not available as of yet. But for $285 to add that extra capacity in the thing, I think that's worth it. So we're gonna go ahead and add the extra large fuel tank. Okay. So now we have some other options, just like this is gonna be like our last little bells and whistles and stuff like that. So cargo tie downs, no, that's stuff we just strip out of the van. If you run motorcycles or something, it might be something to consider. Tire inflator, sealant kit, delete. Nope, I'm just gonna leave that stuff in there. Wheel well liners, I do like wheel well liners. It was pre-selected as one of our other packages. Just keeps the chassis a little bit cleaner inside, engine bay, stuff like that. You can add 2 additional key fobs for a total of 4 keys. If you want to do that, it's going to cost you an extra. So do 65 215 and 65 290. Okay, so it's like $40. Or 80 bucks, something like that for 2 additional keys. I don't know, you can do 2 keys. 4 keys is nice. Nice to have extra keys. You can hide one in the van somewhere. Give one to your buddy. Front bumper, carbon black. I like that. The lower valence. So yeah, front black bumper, I like that. Spare tire and wheel delete. I don't want that selected. Somewhere we got lumped into no spare tire. So spare tire and wheel delete. It means we're not going to have a full-size spare on this van. Interesting. But I have seen that, and we like to put in aftermarket water tanks in the back, so not a big deal. Engine block heater, don't need that. Engine idle, 3-minute timer, don't need that. That's more like one of those efficiency things. Top speed, no thank you. Remote start key fob, don't need that either. The keys you can hit lock, unlock, lock, and it'll auto start the van for you. You don't need that remote start. 50 emissions, standard. Keyless entry keypad. I do like the keypad. Super convenient for when I'm out on a mountain bike ride. I can leave the keys at the van, something like that. So keyless entry, I do like to add that one in. You can do these aftermarket, by the way. So if you don't add keyless entry, you can add that aftermarket. It's just easy to have it done by Ford. It's done. Auxiliary fuel port, we don't need this. It might not allow me to undo this one. Auxiliary fuel port is going to come with another one of those packages. We don't utilize this for S-bar furnaces. A lot of people think, oh, I have the auxiliary fuel port, and I don't need to worry about like having someone tap the tank for the van. Unfortunately, you do. The fuel port is too large to run your S-bar furnace, but if you have it, whatever. Daytime running lamps, I don't really care about that. I leave my headlights on all the time. That's just like on auto mode. So then we already have pre-selected here, HID headlamps in black, wiper activated headlamps, tail lamps, tire inflator sealing kit in lieu of spare tire. Okay, so this is what they're doing. They're giving you an inflator and getting rid of your spare tire. Kind of janky, but here we go. So we can add a spare tire and wheel down here if I wanted to. Build for cargo van. Includes the jack, toolkit, full-size matching spare tire, removes the tire inflator and seal kit. So let's see what this costs us now to add a spare tire. $65,415 to... yep, that's fine. So $250 for another full-size spare. I'm going to go ahead and keep that selected. I want a full-size spare, and I don't want to have to buy it in the aftermarket. If you know you're going to buy aftermarket wheels and tires, then don't select that because you're just wasting money. I am probably going to stick with my factory wheels and tires, so I'm going to go ahead and select spare tire and wheel. Engine auto shutdown, don't care about that. Governor, don't care about that. Auxiliary fuel port extension line, don't care about that. Again, not going to work for our fuel or for our S-bar furnace. Halogen lamps with auto lamp, that's going to be a downgrade. We don't want that. Front fog lamps, we have that selected. We do like that. Engine idle shutdown timer, another engine idle shutdown timer. Don't need that. Post-crash alert system, that's just like a safety thing. Backup alarm, don't want that. This is going to be the beep, beep, beep as you back up. And then another engine idle shutdown timer after 20 minutes. Don't need that either. Okay. So it looks like all of those are selected and we're pretty happy. Okay, then we can go into our interiors. We're done with the exteriors, onto interiors. So we have ebony seats or dark palazzo gray. I like the dark palazzo gray. It's just like a nice dark charcoal gray. But I do want them in cloth if I can. All right, here we go. So you can do gray vinyl, cloth seats, or if we scroll down here, we're going to get into our swivel seats, and this is what we really care about. Okay. So we have manual seats, manual driver passenger, manual driver passenger, vinyl seats. One of the big ones is sometimes people end up without a passenger side armrest. Make sure you get an armrest for the passenger seat. It's really silly to jump in a van and not have a passenger seat armrest. It's something you can really easily overlook too when you're ordering a van or even buying a van on the lot because you're not sitting in the passenger seat typically and you don't realize it till you take it home. Your significant other jumps in the van and they go, hey, like there's no armrest here, and by then it's too late. Okay. The main thing I want is a swivel seat. Okay, so I'm looking here for swivel seats. And here we are. So we have the dark palazzo gray 4-way manual swivel driver and 4-way manual swivel passenger seat. This is the one I'm going to select. Okay. I prefer a cloth seat. I think they're cooler in the summer. They do have a heated seat, but it's going to... Oh, they have a cloth heated seat now. That's nice. Okay. So they used to not have a cloth heated seat. They only had vinyl heated seats. So I would go for the power heated seat, but I like having the factory swivel. Again, you can do that in the aftermarket, not a big deal. So if you like a heated seat, that is a very nice upgrade. Dark Palazzo Gray 4-way manual swivel seat, that's the one I'm gonna select. That is my favorite. If I wasn't going with that one and I was gonna choose something else, I would either choose the Palazzo Gray Dark Cloth 10-way seat or driver's heated seat with lumbar here. So 2-way manual, driver's heated with lumbar, 2-way manual passenger seat. That's kind of an interesting one. So you get a gray cloth seats with heated seats, with lumbar and an armrest in cloth. Let's see if it would allow us in this van to do it. Yeah, nice. Okay. So let's see what the difference is going to be here. So we have a gray cloth seat with heat, no swivel seat. So you could add an aftermarket swivel seat, but it's still a manually adjustable. But it's only 2-way adjustable, so it's a little on the limited side. But if I go back to the 4-way adjustable with swivels, it's another $800 to add swivels, which I think is worth it because aftermarket, you're going to be into it at least that much. So we're going to stick with that. All right, next options, and these are going to be some important ones here, okay? Bulkhead lockable door with window. We don't want that for camper van, not what we do. Front overhead shelf. This is probably the most important thing. They have made an option now that you have to do, and that is the overhead shelf with the sun visors up there. It was never an option until like 2022. They randomly made it an option, and now you have to select it. We've had a bunch of people bummed about them. They can't put an aftermarket shelf up there if they don't have that sun visor area. So definitely add this one in. If you accidentally ordered a van without that shelf, let us know in the comments below. Heavy duty floor mats in the front. The Ford floor mats are okay. I actually prefer the aftermarket Husky liners because it's one complete liner and it goes between both of the seats. Kind of gives you an extra console cover in the center of the van. I think it's a little bit nicer. And then vinyl floor covering for the front only. That is already pre-selected, so we have vinyl on the fronts. That's kind of the option alternate to the cloths or the carpet up front, so we like that. They have some multi-shelving, rear seat delete. I don't know what that is. Must be, maybe it's like a passenger thing. You can get rid of your seats on a passenger model. Push button start. Okay, so it's going to force me into the sliding door thing, and I don't want that. Okay, so I think we have a push button start now. Orange seat belts, that's one of those delivery things. Trailer brake controller, if you wanted that trailer brake controller, you could do that. Okay, you can add your heating console, front and rear AC module, because we had that prep in there, you could do that. We don't need that. Power outlet, I don't need that. That's like our power outlet on the side of the seat. And we have the 260, we'll keep that. Heavy duty scuff plate, D-pillar, large center console, all-weather floor mats. Vinyl floors, front and rear, B-pillar assist handle. I do like the B-pillar assist handle. I would add this one in here. Okay. Rear interior lighting, we don't need any of that. Large grab handles, we don't need that. Carpeted front, we don't want that. Folding aluminum shelving. Auxiliary fuse panel with high-spec interface connector. We already have that in ours. Includes dual AGM modified vehicle wiring. Included with seat pack 34, builder's prep package, motorhome prep, shuttle bus. 6-speaker audio. We can add 6-speaker audio if we want to add those extra speakers to the back. I don't really care about that, so we're not going to add that. Ford Pro Telemetrics, available now at absolutely no cost. Okay. We don't need GPS tracking data, any of that kind of stuff. All right, and we are to the bottom of our configuration. So we're at a total of $66,000, 880 cents, which isn't that bad for some of the vans that I've seen. Base MSRP was $57,000. It looks like we added, about $9,000 in options here between seats and HID headlights and all-wheel drives and all that kind of stuff. I think we're not in too bad of a spot. Here, let's go ahead and name this here. And we're going to go ahead and share this as a PDF. So we will make this PDF available for you. So if you want to go ahead and download this from AVC, we'll have it on our downloads page. We'll also have that linked in the description below. So if you want to go ahead and click on that link, you can download this exact PDF that I just priced out. If you want to look at some of those options that we reviewed, you can put a van together just like we did here. Okay. So with all those things selected, let's see what happens when we hit continue. It's probably going to ask us to talk to a dealer. Yeah. So at this point, I would probably hit pause. I'd save this to my cart, and I would then print out that PDF, and I'd start calling some of my local dealers. Different dealers have different inventory allotments, so they're going to have the ability to get some vans sooner than other dealers will. Depends what kind of vans they have on their lot. Depends what kind of order history they've had over the years. So it's definitely worth shopping around. Contact the nearest 4 or 5 dealers to you, see who has the best service department, look at some reviews, work with the dealer you like. I think building a relationship with your local Ford dealer is actually a really good thing. Enjoying going in and talking to them is something that's kind of nice. They're also going to have some, sometimes they'll have dealer incentives. They might be able to cut you a deal. They're going to try and upsell you on like a extended warranty or like a service package. In my opinion, the service package was actually pretty good. I think they started out at around $3,500, and I got them down to $1,500 on my last van. $1,500 for 60,000 miles of service. That included oil changes, brakes, all that kind of stuff. Was awesome. One brake job is going to pay for that, and I think it's definitely worth that. If you can get them down to that $1,500 range, I think it's a good deal. $3,500, probably not. Extended warranty is another one. If you're building a camper van, you're going to be putting a lot of money into this vehicle, and so having that extended warranty, I think, is really nice. I add them to our vans here at the shop because I'd like to have that extended warranty for the second person that's going to buy that vehicle from me. Extending that drivetrain to 100,000 miles is a really nice peace of mind. If I'm selling a van here with 20,000 miles, they know they have another 80,000 miles to put on that van before they have to really worry about some major cash, to shell out to keep it going. And I think that's a pretty nice thing to get on there. And those are the kind of things you have to talk to your local dealer about. So it's good to have all this information. Go sit down with the dealer, talk to them, get up, go to another dealer, see if they can give you a better deal. Maybe even email this PDF off and say, hey, who can get me the best deal on this? I'm going to email my next, I'm emailing 5 dealers today, and I want to see who can come up with the best deal. If you made it this far in the video, hopefully you have a really good idea of what is going to work well in your camper van. If you have questions about some of the packages, about any of the things that we talked about today, we're more than happy to help you out. Hit us up in the comments below. I think this one is going to be a really good one for the comments. So go ahead, scroll through there, see if we've already answered those questions. And if we haven't, go ahead and ask us. We're happy to help you out. If you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.